is Carrie from Thousands of Roots, and today we are going to be talking about whole foods for health. Good morning, Joshie.
Good morning.
I have a question for you this morning. What do you think a whole food is?
Well, something that's whole. It's not been ground up and mixed with other things.
All right.
Like a carrot.
Like a carrot. Cool. Good morning, Esther Pie. Do you think you could go find me a whole food somewhere in our house?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what'd you find? Baby beans. And why are those a whole food, do you think?
They're not ground up and mixed into other things and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's another whole food.
Potatoes. Good morning, Caleb.
Morning.
I have a tough question for you this morning. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think a whole food is?
Well, I would say it's something that hasn't been processed and hasn't had lots of different things added to it.
You would be correct. You want to go find a whole food somewhere?
Sure.
All right, what'd you find?
An apple.
An apple. Yeah, so any kind of fruit, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't been like crushed up and had a bunch of sugar added to it.
Yeah.
Good morning, buddy. How are you this morning?
Good.
Good. Do you know what a whole food is?
No, not really.
Not really. You eat them every day. Apple is a whole food. Banana is a whole food. A carrot is a whole food. It's just a food that's still whole. It's not all smushed and squashed and heated and a bunch of stuff added to it. Do you think you like whole foods?
Mm.
Do you think you could find some whole foods in the garden this summer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, Nathan.
Morning, Mama.
So I've been asking everyone the question, what do you think a whole food is?
Probably something that hasn't been squished, anything added to it.
Can you give me an example?
Like a cake is probably not a whole food, I don't think.
Not so much, huh?
Not even a carrot cake? It's got carrots.
I think an apple is a whole food, huh?
Yep, you're right.
Banana.
Uh-huh.
Maybe nuts.
There you go. Do we eat a lot of whole foods in our diet?
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly, huh? Love you, Naderbug.
Love you, Mama.
Good morning, love.
Good morning.
So you know the question of the morning. How would you answer the question of the morning?
Well, I think a whole food is like a whole pie. Not like part of the pie.
Oh,
The whole,
okay.
to get a whole pie.
Okay. Is a pie a whole food?
A pie can be stuffed with a whole food,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
really, whole foods, they give life so much more than processed foods.
yes, for sure.
And processed foods has so much stuff hidden in them. And a lot of them, most of them actually have poisons hidden in them.
Right.
So stay away from processed foods.
We still do eat some processed foods as well, our family. But for our health, we are on a journey of trying to eat more and more whole foods and less processed foods. So we still have a long way to go, but we are doing our best to include more and more fresh whole foods in our diet. And so technically a whole food is a food that has not been processed or altered or added to, or at least just minimally processed. So there's kind of a spectrum. There's an apple that's plucked fresh off of the tree and eaten right away. That's obviously the best whole food kind that you can get. And if you can't get an apple fresh off of the tree, then you can always have an apple that's been stored for a short time, but still it's a whole apple, nothing's been done to it. Some people would even go so far as to say that applesauce, if it has nothing added to it and hasn't been high heat processed or anything like that, that's still a whole food. But you get into processed food when you take that applesauce and you add a bunch of sugar or preservatives to it, you heat it up high, and then you set it on a shelf for months. And by the time you actually consume it, it really doesn't have much left in it. The goodness of that apple has been heavily processed out. We could do the same example with lots of foods. Potato, you can get a potato fresh out of the ground, wash it and eat it. Cook it, of course, because potatoes need to be cooked. Or you can go all the way to a processed bag of potato chips that's loaded with all kinds of additives and preservatives and toxic things. That is something that we're trying to get away from. And our family chooses to include animal-based products in that whole food category as well, like a whole fresh egg, whole raw milk. So even though technically a whole food is considered something plant-based, our family includes animal-based products as well. Hey Sarah, how would you define a whole food?
I define a whole food as food that is as close to its original form as possible.
Awesome. Alright guys, I'm here with the Knowlton family now. You got to meet Chris already, but you haven't met his wife Lisa. So here's Lisa.
Hello.
And a little bit of the family here.
Hi!
And so she is actually preparing a meal with whole foods. I thought it'd be fun to see what she's preparing. So here we go.
Okay, we have some sweet potatoes. We're going to make sweet potatoes and kale and onion for our scrambled eggs. And with over here, I was going to put some olives with our kale and onions for the eggs. We also make like fried cauliflower.
So good.
Which is so good because I have somebody who can't have potatoes, which are in here.
And there's the potatoes
Yeah.
for people who can eat potatoes.
Yep. I fry up the cauliflower for the one who can't have potatoes or sweet potatoes. And just with oil and salt and pepper and a garlic powder, and just kind of make it as tasty as can be. And it's just so yummy. I fried all in butter, and
Yeah,
it's just so good.
whole foods don't have to be boring. They
No,
can
no,
be
yeah.
so delicious.
Yeah. And you can just add the spices you like, and they gobble it up, and there's like no leftovers ever.
Yeah, I can testify. It's very good.
Yeah.
Hey, birthday boy. You having fun in the box?
Yeah.
Here it is, the finished product.
That's the cauliflower.
Cauliflower mixture.
And the onions and lots of garlic and spices. And that is the white potato with onion, garlic, and lots of spices.
Yeah, I wish we had
Lots of butter.
smell-o-vision. It smells so good in here right now. Cool, thanks for sharing.
Yes, you're welcome.
Now I know some of you might be thinking, what's the difference between processing your own whole foods at home versus just buying pre-processed food from the store? Well, there's a big difference. When you process foods at home, you start with a whole fresh food, and you have the choice how you're going to process that. You can add good fats, healthy fats, rather than rancid, hydrogenated, crazy fats that you would get in a processed food from the store. You can add your own high quality sea salt. You don't have to add any preservatives or anything like that. There's a big difference. You have a lot more choice in what goes into those whole foods when you process them at home. There's also really healthy ways of processing that you often can't find in the store. For example, beans. It's really good for beans to be soaked or sprouted for a period of time before they're cooked, and that makes them a lot more digestible. Grains, same thing. Grain, it's best to ferment it or sprout it before you consume it, and it's really hard to find high quality, true like sourdough bread. It's out there, but it's hard to find. So being able to process your foods at home is still a much healthier way than buying processed foods from the store. Or at least it can be, depending on how you process it. Alright guys, before we close out this video, I just want to say that this video is the first of several videos that we're going to be actually posting over on Patreon. And it's going to be a part of a whole bigger series called Homestead Health Tips. It was Kip's idea, and he's had this idea rolling around in his head for months now. So he's excited about it, I'm excited about it, and if you're not on Patreon, that's totally cool. We'll hopefully still do health related things here on YouTube as well. But if you're interested, hop on over to our Patreon page, and you might want to check out what's going on over there. And to our patrons, thank you for your patience. We have not had much time to post over there lately. It's been so busy for us, so thank you for sticking with us over there. Those who are at the level of having a tree planted in your name, we have not forgotten you. We actually have trees potted and waiting to go in the ground on a new homestead, a family that's waiting for land to be finalized to be theirs, and then we're going to be planting those trees. So that's still coming. This video is also kind of the precursor for a video we hope to put up here on YouTube soon that kind of just in a nutshell tells what our diet is, because we've had a lot of interest on that. So that's still coming as well. So thank you so much for watching today. We pray blessings over you and yours, and whatever you do, do it with your whole heart.
Quite the crew you have there, Scooter. Is that fun, you guys?
Oh,